We love this man. I'm pushing the
Yay!
button. Good day. Man, oh man. Mrs. Ryan, who's been ready for this one?
Oh, I know you have, but I also.
Well, waiting for it for sure, and then I think for everybody else, this is going to be a heck of a show because this is going to be the information episode.
Yeah.
What on earth happened over at Benton Performance?
Here's everything.
If you had any questions as to what was going on over at Benton Performance lately, they will be answered tonight on this show. Our guest is John Benton. Let's get into the whole show here. Welcome back, Mrs. Ryan. Hello there.
Hello.
Welcome back, everybody else. Tonight is Thursday, December 5th, 2019. And my name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. And as I just mentioned, our guest this evening is Mr. John Benton of Benton Performance. There's a lot to talk about. Half his business burned down, along with a lot of history and everything else. And so he's been buried over there. And as far as I know, with the exception of a haircut for this show last night, this is his first time out to do anything. And it's here so that he can get the information out to all of you. So can't wait to get him in here. There's a few things we do need to get through, though, Mrs. Ryan. I don't have too much for the hellos unless you've got anything.
Nope.
How you doing? How you feeling? How's 40 doing on you?
40's great. I feel like it's...
We're allowed to say that, right? I'm allowed to.
Yeah. I mean,
know.
I don't care. It's just my brain age. I'm getting there. It's like my body, like, who cares? Like, I'm over it. Thank you for not caring. But, like...
You look better than ever. There's nothing to care about. I'm sorry you can't walk. That sucks, and that's crazy irony.
When I'm sitting, I look great.
Because you mean because you can't really stand.
Right. So when I'm walking around, no dice. But so I'm coming to terms with feeling awful and moving forward.
I'm sorry that you feel awful. You look beautiful. Everybody said that John Benton, literally when you were walking in the studio here, he's like, I just want to grab her. I just want to grab her and hold her, squeeze her.
I'm lucky for all of you guys.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're working on it. I'm glad you're dealing.
It is
I like
what
your
it
shirt
is.
today. This I want to bring up because the last time we talked about this shirt, it's another sweet sour thing, was with our friend Kevin Lynch and his son Patrick. And we were discussing Harbor and how this was a fake Harbor shirt because this is actually not from Harbor in OC. This is Harbor from the show, the OC. This was a prop shirt I got you.
I know.
But I love it. I love it. I love it. And you look just great. So, all right. East Coast feeds. Got a couple East Coast feeds down at Ridgefield BMW.
Awesome. Hi, Cass. Thanks for the text.
Let's check in. This one is one's from this morning and one is from right before Thanksgiving. So let's do that one first. Roll it, Hal. Danbury Chive at Ridgefield BMW.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. It's the Casman and Jim Delaney. So it's Turkey Week here at BMW of Ridgefield, and as a courtesy, the owners actually give us turkeys to each employee, which is awesome. Isn't that right, Jim? Awesome. It's very good if you get them on the day they come, which was yesterday. If your day off was yesterday, or you forgot to get them or something like that, you were kind of beat because they're stolen, all of them. So 20 turkeys went missing.
20 turkeys?
We're guessing that the cleaning crew stole them after hours because they were there at 6:45 p.m. Did some investigative work, and we're thinking that downtown Danbury is getting blessed because it's it's a giving type situation. We're givers, right?
Yeah.
We're into charity. Even if that means feeding all of Danbury, that's fine. Like it or not, there it is. There it is. Fuck you, people who order turkeys. There it is. That's it. Random love. East Coast feed. Bye, guys.
Bye.
So there's a turkey caper over at Ridgefield BMW. The Thanksgivings were all nearly ruined.
That's...
I think it's a heck of a ballsy move to steal 20 turkeys. A turkey, like, nobody will... There was 20, 19, who knows? But to take all 20 is something.
That's...
That's something, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would love to know, are they just left out on desks? I mean, you know what I mean? Or maybe they were doing someone a favor. Did they collect them all and put them in a freezer somewhere?
I was a little curious about that part also, but it's a weird thing to do right before Thanksgiving, all at a car place.
Also, that's a huge and beautiful brand new BMW facility. I mean, it's probably 5 years old now, but it's a gorgeous. Yes. So my point is, I can't see someone jeopardizing that contract over some poultry, some frozen poultry. But with that, all right, let's check in one more time with same fellas, see where they are now. I believe we're in the shop. Roll it out.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, good morning, East Coast Feed from BMW Ridgefield today. You know what really grinds my gears? You have a really nice, expensive car like an Alpina B7 or B6, whatever the hell it is. Whatever, it's expensive. And you get in the car and you see this right here. You know, your car people, right?
Snow tube?
See this right here?
Oh.
That's an automatic. You know what you don't need when you have an automatic? An emergency brake. Why do people have to need to put the emergency brake on every fucking time? The bottom line is, it's an automatic. It has a park. You don't have a stick. I have a stick. I need an emergency brake. You have a stick. You need an emergency brake. This guy right here? Yeah. Don't need that. Don't need it. Mad about it. Letting you know, random love, East Coast Feed, coming out July.
Somebody get that man some turkey stat. He needs some turkey stat.
East Coast love right there.
And a goblet of wine. Settle him down a little bit. Holy smokes. Oh, Kazman. I don't know if I agree with you on that one. We've got a heck of a car guy here. John Benton, what are your feelings on that? The e-brake and the automatic. I mean, wouldn't you...
He has a point, but for liability purposes, the manufacturer has to put an e-brake in the car.
There you go. Liability-wise, the manufacturer has to. But does he have a point? Because when I was a kid, oh yeah, you have to put it in park. You can't not. Oh, it was the manual. When I was a kid in the frozen weather, we didn't put the emergency brake on because sometimes that could freeze and snap the cable on an old car.
With an automatic, you have to be in park to start the car. Sometimes neutral is acceptable.
Right, certainly to get the key out usually.
It just depends on the age of the car. But in the modern era, that's what we're stuck with, these buttonized machines.
Yeah. So do you have any feeling on that? Is it double? Is it overkill? Or somebody just using what the manufacturer gave them?
It's the common design in all modern vehicles. That's where we're at.
Fair enough. Mrs. Ryan, let's see. We've got TBT and Dave Watch. Maybe Dave Watch?
Sure.
Push the button. Yeah, all right. So I am putting the X on the 5th here to denote that Mr. David Letterman is not sitting in that chair. I don't think we need to open it all up again, but we're working on it. Progress is being made, and conversations are being had, meetings are being set, all sorts of stuff. Is that fair?
Yes, I'm at the meeting setting stage.
It's crazy.
Sorry.
Some people, I don't know if you're sick of hearing about this or not. For us, it's like just amazing. We love it. Thanks for coming along the ride with us.
It's a pretty rad ride.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. That won't be it. You know, I mean, that's not it. We're not just going after a conversation. We're trying to help get ourselves set up for the future. Have somebody help take us into like making this a real show or whatever the fuck. So it's really exciting to us because we can't do it on our own.
From where I'm standing, it's absolutely a real show. So there you go.
I love you. You're amazing. I can't wait to get you in here. Let's do a quick TBT, Mrs. Ryan.
Okay.
Let's see. Look in the machine over here. I don't remember where we are because I'm pulling it up now as I forgot to load it in. Of course. What else is new? I think we decided to do this one because it was our friends over at Sierra Madre, I think. I don't know what it is. Let's just press TBT, whatever it is, roll it out. Stupid car. Oh yeah. We are here at the Sierra Madre collection for their open house. A little bit loud. We're having a good time. Oh, look who just showed up. Alrighty then. It's a party. The pre-breakfast club. Pre-breakfast club. Pre-breakfast club.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's getting a little crazy. We've got to duck out.
We might even come back later because it's really fun. And we got here to kind of avoid the commotion, which is out front where all the cars are. So we'll
Yeah.
Holy
there
cow.
We go. That's right.
That
Got
was a
one 'cause
fun
it was
day.
Nice and quick. Huge love to Eric Williams and everybody over at Sierra Madre. We got to get over there. We haven't needed anything in a while. That's the only thing.
It's time. Make the rounds holidays.
Jorge was one of the first calls I got after the fire.
Jorge was one of the first calls you got after the fire
Yeah.
to check in.
Mortified. He was blown away.
Well, we'll talk about it in just a couple minutes. All right, all right, fantastic. We got to do the news. I got to do the news, and then that's it. Mrs. Ryan, it's time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind. What's going on, Mrs. Ryan?
All right, I'm cutting out the big one. I can't wait to see you. This was super fun for my old life and also like life imitates art, like we were talking about. The new James Bond movie out next April has the same font as the Love Boat.
Wait a second. Did you figure that out by looking at it?
No,
or did
there's
you look?
an article and like people are
that's a
already
riot.
down that rabbit hole.
What's the new one called? I
No
saw that
Time to Die.
No Time to Die. I saw they just released the trailer the other day, and it looks like the DB5 Aston Martin's back with all the stuff. Do you even like those James Bond movies?
I don't necessarily care, but I love the fonts the same as Love Boat.
You do love the Love Boat.
I do.
Good old spelling. Good old spelling entertainment, I think.
I like
Aaron's
that. So I like that the images, the conjuring the emotion is part of that.
I have to ask, had you ever even seen the Love Boat before I put it on for you? Really?
No.
I put it on because I said, you got to watch these old premises, when the world was getting a little crazy and everything. In the old days, in the 80s, the TV was so easy and it was just kind of made you feel good for an hour and then you go on with your day. So we put a couple episodes on, and the stunt casting, the celebrities, Charo is the photographer. It's all brilliant. It's awful television, yet awesome. It's totally feel good. Sorry.
I'll watch.
I love that you even cared to say that. It's so funny to me.
I love that it's in the ether. Cutting this one, I'll get there later. Elon Musk, who I just love for no reason. I have no agenda. But his goals for this year, by the end of December, he wants to deliver all customer cars, and he wants to make a push for more solar panels in Teslas.
In Teslas. Cool.
So I just
he does most of the things he sets his mind to and declares that he's going to do. They're drilling all over underneath Los Angeles, with the boring company and everything. Everyone said that can't happen. He'll never get approval.
I appreciate his transparency and forward thinking. What comes of it, I don't know. But I appreciate that he's at least talking about stuff, because a lot of people hide and he does not, even though he's a wacko. I love
Good
him.
for you. He never turns off either. That's another one with him. Some of us go to sleep at night and reboot and wake up the next day. He just kind of keeps going.
Yeah, he's like connected forever. Keeps going. Energizer Bunny.
Maybe he's an alien. Didn't people say that for a while? Like, oh, he's an alien. Sure.
That was the theory for a minute. You never know. Who cares? Life's awesome because of him sometimes. Okay. There's new studies of stuff we think we already know everywhere.
Oh, constantly, yeah.
And so
it's great, though, I guess.
I love it. I mean, what else are you going to do? I love it. It's fascinating to me. The new study that they're doing is with gorillas, because there's a difference between wild gorillas and gorillas in zoos and
Captivity.
stuff. Captivity, that's the word. Thanks. They're finding that in the wild, across the board, gorillas hum and make up songs when they eat.
You're kidding. So
No.
they're eating they don't eat something, whatever, and they're Whoa.
Yeah, and then they communicate to their people, their tribe, their other gorillas or whatever, younger or older. The dominant one communicates what food's available, like what's good.
Oh, wow. Like the leaves are into, try the veal.
Yeah.
Tip your waitress.
Yeah. And in captivity, that's gender neutral, and it's like whoever's the more dominant one.
Well, and they get fed whatever they get fed in captivity versus like, hey, here's some natural food. I found some. Go get some.
It's more social. It's communal.
All the choreo. We'll tell the stories, and Benton will do the choreography.
And so they're extending the study to see how far that goes. And in the wild, it's the male dominant one, because it's usually the one that finds the food.
Oh,
really.
sure.
But that's the difference of captivity and in the wild and the gender part of it. So it's like wild. When everyone calms down and feels safe, all that gets worked out and the dominance comes out naturally.
So do they not do the humming thing at all in captivity, or is it different?
They hum more in captivity. It's more communal.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's more. I flipped it. Okay, it's more in captivity. Okay.
Yeah, everyone, more of them feel safer to contribute their voice, and you can hear
That's
different
interesting.
voices.
It's a safe room. They made
Yeah.
a safe place. Wow.
Yeah. So it's super interesting to redo all these studies and relearn everything.
I love having him here. I love having him. I love having you here. I'm sorry to interrupt. As
Makes me
usual.
better. Thanks.
And that's been What's Going On, Mrs. Ryan. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh my.
I guarantee he loves you differently than me.
What does that mean? Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Well, he's dropping bombs before he gets in here. Mr. John Benton is going to be in here in just a few moments. Mrs. Ryan and I are going to take a break. Late Night Playset will be back with more to come right after this. See you in a few. Let's get this. That you be comfortable. You put that wherever you're set. That's going to be tough.
I'm messing with you. This is how I get comfortable. So there you go.
I think you nailed it.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
That's good?
absolutely.
Yeah.
We are back, everybody. First of all, we're back, and we are sitting here with a man who reserves the right to reinvent himself at any time.
I
and I would imagine that may be happening as we speak. We are sitting here with Mr. John Benton to tell us all the things that have been going on over at Benton Performance. I think I should probably start with the question that's on mine and Mrs. Ryan's mind, which is, hey, buddy, what's new?
2019 kind of slugged along like a turd rolling down a hill, and then it smashed into a pumpkin on Halloween. So there you go.
Was it Halloween? Is that when
It was October 30th, the midnight before Halloween. So technically it was...
Devil's Night, right? Or
yes.
the Hell's Night or whatever?
Yes.
Jeez.
Mischief
All right.
Night.
So...
But this was not mischief.
No,
we're gonna shut
yeah.
up and just.
Well,
How about you tell the story of
for
what
people,
happened that night?
For people who live in California, Southern California, and for people who live in Orange County, the Santa Ana winds are an interesting thing, and they're
Seasonal.
real. And maybe 3 times a year we get a pretty good wind event where it's just a constant 20 miles an hour with 40, 50 mile an hour gusts. And because of that, my video cameras were recording all night because
Because of the movement.
the palm trees were making a shadow in the parking lot.
Wow.
So at about just before midnight, my neighbor's yard, it's a pretty big yard. He has his vehicles back there and a lumber yard. And right before midnight, one of his Ford F-150s, a 2016 Ford F-150,
26, a new car. I mean, a
Yeah.
relatively new car.
just burst into flames. You see kind of something going on, and then boom, it's on fire. And because it's an industrial area, it's not like a house next door with some people in it. Somebody from some distance or driving past
Oh wow.
reported a fire on Barton Way, which is not my street. It's the next street over. So God bless the fire department. They did the best they could, but they deployed on the wrong cul-de-sac. And for half an hour, sprayed water on a building that wasn't on fire, broke into their building with saws, and just...
Was it a back-to-back type building where
Yes.
it looked like?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
gosh.
So, they inadvertently put them out of business for a couple of weeks. And by the time another crew member had gone around the block to do some intel, it was too late. The gas burning Ford, when its gas tank went off,
Do we know what happened with the Ford, or is that still ongoing?
that's the job of the forensic
Gotcha,
people that
okay.
have to dissect or maybe look at other cases.
Gotcha. But spontaneously, something on this thing that wasn't the gas tank, it sounds like. So it put it up, and then
Yeah.
the flames from the fuel.
Yeah, and then the diesel truck adjacent to that,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
when its tanks opened up with the winds, it was like napalm. And it's like just blurry, white, hot blob that used to be his yard. And then the lumber goes off.
Oh my gosh.
That's a
There's nothing
perfect
but
storm
fuel.
of crazy
Yeah.
coincidence.
Nothing but
awful.
fuel.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So there's a chain link fence between
Oh,
his
beautiful.
property. And there's probably 4 feet between his lumber yard and my steel building that was there. It got so hot that it buckled the steel panels. And once that happened, the wind blew flames right into
the.
and that back wall is where all the seats were. That big tall shelf have all these bitchin'.
Oh, the racks. The
those
racks. Are the, oh, gosh.
So that's the side where I keep a lot of race stuff, like the La Carrera spares are on the bottom, and in bins, plastic bins, and then a lot of the soft stuff, racing seats primarily, and collectible seats were all up on that wall. So now they're on fire, and right next to it is so much magnesium
Wheels.
and aluminum and all my hard engine parts, and it's. I asked the inspector how hot it was inside the building in the void, because on the far side of the shop where there wasn't necessarily fire, all the machines were destroyed.
Just from the heat.
Just from the heat. He says, oh, probably around 2,200 degrees.
That's so hot.
So, like,
Oh.
I had a Lincoln TIG, a big giant 375 Ideal Arc. It's like $9,000.
Welder we're talking about, right?
Yeah, welding equipment. It's a really nice machine, and it was just a shell with the hard iron components and but the paint was just gone. It's just like this metal, ashy box, and it's amazing. It's pretty wild. Fire doesn't play. I mean, it's what makes us stronger than the other primates on the planet. But
Having
it's
discovered
also,
fire.
yeah, it's the thing. But it has no conscience. It just does what it wants to do. So I mean that's the what happened. So
Well, yeah, but so you don't know anything about that stuff because you're not watching those cameras that are on, right? You know what I mean?
No.
That's something you check later.
So I have state-of-the-art surveillance, and I have an alarm system and all that stuff. But it's only as good as your connection to it. Now, I was very much asleep at the time, and I don't keep my phone until now. Recently, I stopped putting my phone near my bedside
Yeah,
because I get
it's supposed
calls
to be
from all
bad
over
for
the
you,
place.
Yeah.
And
It's also supposed to be bad for you from the your circadian rhythms and all the other
yeah.
stuff.
So as of late, probably for the last, ironically, probably for 2019, I've spent less time with my phone totally against me all the time. So I got up, my usual deal, 4:45, 5 a.m., and Brenda got up before me because she's on East Coast time.
For work.
And she says, hey, your phone is blowing up. There's something going on with your phone. So I got out of bed, and I pick up my phone, and I'm like, oh, no. This isn't good. Like, it's kind of mashed together because it's all these little bubbles popping up. And then at the same moment, Valerie, my office assistant, she called. She says, I think there's a fire. I said, no, there's definitely a fire. So Tim Roper, who is the early riser who gets to the shop usually around that time, thereabouts, I called him right away and I told him what was
Did
going on.
you say what time it was? What time is this? Did you
It's
say?
around 5 a.m.
About 5
by this
a.m.,
point.
okay.
So
Before dawn.
oh yeah, it's very much dark outside, and I told Tim, hey, I'm on my way. You're probably gonna get there before me. Just give me a call. I'll be in the truck because it takes me, with no traffic, driving like an idiot, it takes half an hour to get to the shop, and I think I got there in 25 minutes. So before I got there, he called me and he says, John, I'm sorry. I'm like, what's going on? He says, it's gone. It's all gone. I'm like, everything's gone. He goes, John, there's nothing in that building. It's horrible. And I'm like, really? What about the machine shop? He says, John, it's gone. So in that moment, going 100 miles an hour on the 91, I'm still like, there's no way.
Yeah, you can't picture it not being there, so it's still there in your mind.
Very
you have
much
to go
so.
see it not be there.
So then the way my brain works, I'm a fixer, and I have all these things in my head that I'm focused on. I have a very personal connection with my clients, even if they don't realize it, and I'm connected to all the cars and machines and parts. It becomes part of you. It's part of my fabric.
Yes.
So right away, I'm starting to like, oh, we have to finish that car. What am I? Oh man! So it was overwhelming, and it was kind of dancing in my head. And then I pulled up to the shop, and then you see it. You see the fire truck and the hose lines, and it's a lake, and there's still stuff smoldering and glowing. There were chunks of magnesium and aluminum the size of your head that had a glowing eye in the middle, and we were looking at it, and the wind would blow, and it would kind of, grow a little bit, and that's why the firemen were there, because of the magnesium. So it's pretty wild.
Ryan, do you know much about magnesium? My dad taught me that. My dad was a firefighter, ironically. He taught me
No.
this with just strips of it when I was a kid by lighting it on fire with a match next to a glass, and he would show it to me, and it lights like a sparkler, like really bright, like a welder almost is how it looks. And then he would put it in the glass, and it would continue to burn underwater. You can't put it out. You can't put it out. Not with water, anyway.
Yeah, it burns
Chemical,
so hot.
I think, maybe.
It burns so hot.
It's what I use in my bath, though, right?
Yes, it's a
that-
metal. Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's what the old racing wheels were made of. You know, when you hear mag wheels,
Yes.
it's magnesium.
Yes.
The ones that when we were at the Santa Monica airport in that hangar, in our friend's hangar the other day, and there were the ones on the floor that were kind of old and looked all messed up. That's just how they look. Those were magnesium.
Yeah.
So that
Many
is
of the
so
thing- yeah,
hot from
yeah.
having burned at such a temperature that it's just still kind of sitting there as a liquid molten.
Well, I'll give you an idea. I had real industrial pallet racks. So, like maybe you go to Home Depot
Costco.
or you go to Costco and you see these really big racks, and they have quarter-inch round steel racking material. It's a grid that's spot welded all together, and that can support a lot of weight. So, those bigger shelves, they had stacks and stacks of wheels, and then below the wheels were the head cores and engine cores and blocks. So the magnesium burned so hot that it melted the steel grid and dripped down onto the cores and melted those, and then all that glob of molten metal and aluminum and steel dripped down onto the bottom rows where there were completed engines. Because the shop, and this has been hard explaining to the insurance company and a lot of other people. So, Benton Performance, you know, when you think it's a thing, right? And no matter where I am, that's Benton Performance. And wherever a client is, that's Benton Performance. But to the insurance company, Benton Performance is 3 buildings.
Sure.
1 in La Habra and 2 in Anaheim. I never thought of it like that. But the point I'm going to make is that morning, at that moment, half of my business died and left the other side crippled, because a lot of the things that were associated with things that were on the rack, things that were being built, and the future of things to be built, and many past lives I've lived, all disappeared. And so we've had no billable hours since the fire. The only billable hours we've gotten are from work that was in process. So like maybe some seats came in from an upholstery shop, or maybe we had somebody was on vacation, they came back and they got their bill and they paid, right? But
even the cars that were in the shop, all of that work had to
it's
cease.
on hold. It's on hold.
Everything has to
And
wait.
for so many reasons. And at first I was optimistic. So at first I thought, okay, we're good. We'll figure this out. We'll try to make this work. And then I remember it was so dumb. Until you absorb it and really start to make sense of it, I'm out there. I'm telling the guys, well, just do that and do this, and
you realize that's busy work at that point, right?
well, no, it was me trying. I think it was a subconscious way of me to just avoid the reality.
Oh, you're staying in it instead of.
There's a 911 SC that was there, right? And not the morning after the fire, but like 2 or 3 days later, I come in. I'm like, okay, we'll get some work done because we got to get some cars out. And some clients wanted to get their cars out just because of the situation.
Yeah.
Because it's a massive cleanup effort, and we're still in it. We're almost done with the cleanup. There's a lot to do still, but there's a 911 SC, and all I wanted to do was get a 3mm, Allen wrench and adjust the mixture on the car. That's all I wanted to do, and it was going to take hardly any time at all. And I already had all the air fuel stuff set up on it from like the week prior. And I go to my toolbox and I can't find my tool, which happens because there's other people there and some of the guys use my stuff. And I'm like, no big deal. So I go get an Allen wrench and I want to cut it down. I can't.
You don't have the tool to cut it.
There's no grinder. There's no saw. There's nothing. And then now I'm getting kind of
Your
angry.
infrastructure went away as well.
Yes. So now I'm like, this is BS. This is total BS. So I got on the phone with my insurance company yet again because it's been every day.
Like, I can't function now.
Yeah, I can't, and I can't. So I made a stark reality started to like leak in. So my positive mental attitude started to wane, and I had a rough week. I had a really super rough week, and I like to, at some point during this conversation, maybe we can, if you give me a chance without getting too emotional, I'd like to thank some individuals.
We have time for that at the end.
So this has been this is involuntary cleansing. This is an involuntary switch. It's a lot of people don't understand what this is like. It's like a death and an illness all at once, all wrapped into one, in very condensed time. There's no time to say I love you. Now I get you guys. A lot of people out there are like, it's just a bunch of stuff or whatever. Yes, that's true, and that's kind of where I'm at now. But
Well, it's your lifetime as well. I mean, it is just stuff, of course, but it was a personification of the work you'd put into the life for the man who sits before us.
Sure. But, this little thing we call life, we try to make I think I've said it before, we try to create a life we want to be in and fill it with people we like and things we like.
Good luck with that.
And I'm not saying like super greedy McGillicuddy, but like, maybe there's a favorite cup you have and that's important to you. Or maybe there's a favorite person that's important to you, right?
Yeah, we're sitting at all of it. Yeah, it's great.
So, or maybe there's a car or the things that make the car happen. And then there's a community that's built around that.
100%.
And it's your life. It's your thing. And there's things you don't know, don't care about, and that's fine. But the stuff that you do, it's important. And when a big chunk of it gets snatched like that, it takes a bite.
And it's gone. You didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and it's off the map. Literally
It's
not
done.
there anymore.
It's done. So, I don't get off. My thought pattern like I always do, it's going to bounce around like a ping pong ball on a gravel road.
Your time. This is your day.
But I've had time to reflect, and now I've just been focused on getting to the next Benton Performance, the next iteration of what that means, and I finally got through. I fighting with a forensic accountant at a insurance company. I've learned a lot, and so they have their equations and the things they look at, okay, and the number they gave me for my business interruption, which is something you should have if you have a business, that's part of my coverage, okay? And I actually have very good insurance, okay?
This is the equivalent of like having a rental car in your car insurance policy. It's like they'll give you some sort of stipend to keep operating costs.
Yes,
basically.
like if you break down in Idaho because your transmission went out and you have insurance, like, okay, we'll put you up at the hotel.
Oh, I see,
Here's
okay.
Here's a
So
few bucks
accommodations
so
and
you can eat. Okay, so business interruption is supposed to keep me from going out of business. And what I mean by that is employees aren't tools, okay? Tools are tools, okay? And parts, as they pertain to our business, are very important, but that's still not part of that equation. But the point I'm going to make is that I have to pay my employees. They have to eat too. I have to eat. We have expenses. We still have rent to pay, electrical bills. All that stuff doesn't disappear.
Ongoing, yeah.
The world doesn't stop for you.
Yeah, the nut doesn't go away with the fire.
Yeah, and there's other things going on. Like I have some R&D projects going on, and so what you have to do is sit down with the insurance company and say, look, this is where I'm at. I can't bill hours right now, but there's still stuff that we can do, and a lot of that's going to be involved with rebuilding. So if you work with me, I rebuild, we get this over with as fast as we can, and we move on. At the end of the day, it's all dollars to them. It is what it is. You know, they collect money. They don't want to give. How long would an insurance company be in business if they just, okay, here, Mr. Benton, what do you want? 5 mil? Oh, great.
Make it 6.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't work that way. So we had to go back and forth, and I had to explain some things to this young lady because, you know, she's not a mechanic. She's not a business owner. She doesn't know what we're dealing with. But it took 2.5 weeks. During those 2.5 weeks, I spent I spent my personal money because I don't look. I want to make something super freaking clear here. I am not a millionaire, okay? And my life has never been centered on becoming a millionaire, okay? My life has been more centered about living in a world where I don't have to deal with people that drive me crazy. Living in a world where
that's
I don't
your
have to,
piece, yes.
That's my
absolutely
creating a world where I don't have to deal with people that are not just there are people that are not nice or friendly or whatever. I don't have time for that. So here I create this little world, and I try to make an environment for people. Some get it, some don't. People come and go, but it's a world I built, and I just really, really, that's what it's all built on. But I, John Michael Benton, from Southgate, California, I'm not a millionaire. And a lot of people think I am. The whole Instagram, social media thing, people make their stories up about you. They make it about you, make it about you, me. Look, I'm a reluctant businessman. I love machines. I really like Porsche cars. I like people that share that love. And so I had to kind of relate that to a very robotic machine called the insurance company.
Yeah, that's hard, introducing heart into business.
Yes. And I actually made a statement to her boss. There was this conference call, and out of this conference call emerges a voice I hadn't heard, and it was the accountant's next accountant, the boss, one of the supervisors, and he interjected, and he started coming at me a different way, and I said, okay. I said, look, here's where I'm at. I need less robot, more human. Do you get where I'm coming from? He says, absolutely. And the conversation kind of changed, and we
wow, good for you.
And we moved to a different way of looking at it, but within their confines. Because
a lot of people don't even have the knob to turn, though. You found a guy who could turn the knob. Good job.
Thank God. So once they gave me a number that was enough for me to do better than just make ends meet, with zero for me, I got enough to where I knew I could still make my bills.
Right.
My personal, because I was stretched out at that moment. Because I even told the guy, so this is what you guys want me to go to the dealership and throw them the keys to my truck, and then I'll just start taking the bus and fire everybody, and I'll just sit in the rubble. That's what you guys want me to do? Oh no, Mr. Benton. I said, okay, well then that's the starting point, because that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So,
maybe you don't understand.
But
this is what we're dealing with.
And it took 2.5 weeks. So finally we got to a place.
Sorry. You're good.
So finally we got to a place where I could see, okay, we can kind of get away with this. With this, we can do something. We can find a way to an end, a positive end. So I went out in the shop. I told everybody, stop what you're doing.
Put your pencils down.
Everybody, just stop. Everybody. And I think they thought I was going to say, we're done. Because the looks on their faces.
Oh, God, of course. That's probably what everybody thought.
Because I'm fired up, and I'm a high-energy kind of guy, no matter what the situation is.
What do you mean?
Or just, yeah, my God.
So, I get Val. I'm like, Val, come here. And I go out into the shop, and it's a mess. I can't explain to you. It's so dirty and nasty, and there's blackness everywhere, and there's
even your regular shop.
Yeah, just black footprints and stuff blowing in, and we're trying to cover the cars, and we're trying to clean stuff. Everywhere we walk, there's black footprints, and I said, just stop. This is ridiculous. Everybody, come close. And the looks on the faces, and I realized, oof, they don't know what's happening. Okay, I'm like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I just want to
meeting.
I just want to let you guys know a few things, and I'm just going to spit this out. I don't want you guys to overreact or nothing. Just hear me out. I said, I know I come back here, and usually when I have a meeting, it's about billable hours. It's about maximizing our time. It's about, helping each other. Job number one, what is it, guys? Helping each other, because I always tell them.
That's your mantra.
Yeah, that is the number one thing at my shop. We're here to help each other, and everything else will happen. So that's kind of the way it goes down. But on this day, I said, look, I don't want to hear one word about billable hours from anyone. I don't want to hear about profit. I don't want to hear about scheduling. It's all, I have to call the clients. I have to let them know somehow their stuff's safe, or it's gone, or we're in limbo, but that's my problem. But we need to stop what we're doing right now. Tow trucks are on the way. Some things are going to be leaving. We're going to put some stuff here, we're going to put some stuff there, but we're tearing this place down. I'm not waiting for the insurance company. My salary is not important. We're just going to do what we have to do. But you guys, I insist, all of you, you work in a positive way, be safe. We're going to go right now. We're going to go down to the hardware store. We're buying masks. We're buying gloves. We're buying face protectors. We're buying equipment, and we're just going to start cleaning. And we're not waiting for somebody to help us.
Where did that come from? Where did you get that strength and that decision? Where did that come from? It wasn't just the insurance call.
Well, here's the deal. The world runs on money.
Mhm.
And I knew what my limitations were in more ways than one.
So you knew we can't wait. I can't wait.
But the one limitation I don't have is heart. And I got a good crew behind me right now. We've had ins and outs with crew. But right now I got a stout crew. Everybody that's at the shop right now really wants to be there. And they've all come to me, and we've had our hugs and our tears and that stuff. And but right now we're focused. A lot more smiles and frowns right now. And that was my goal.
Good.
But look, everybody realizes they have a stake in this. So I either shut the doors, file bankruptcy, walk away, and then live in this weird world that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. You leave the community that you helped build.
Or
doesn't make sense.
Or we build it into something as good or better.
There you go.
So at first everybody was kind of like, okay, well, what do you want to do? I had it was all in my head. And I just basically...
That's what I mean. This whole plan came together quickly, though.
Very quickly, like I would say within like 30 seconds in my head.
It's awesome.
As soon as I hung up that phone with those people, it became less adversarial and more helpful. And nobody's getting rich here, not even remotely.
Right.
But there's just enough money to where we can keep the doors open in order to rebuild, not to accept business or anything. But
right.
In fact, the only business we've had is T-shirts and hats.
Hey, listen, that's great. Hopefully people are supporting you. I noticed you shipping out a bunch of stuff the other day.
So Efren Alvarez, who is kind of in the background, is a car guy. He's a Porsche client, and he's hooked up with a lot of media groups. That's what he does for a living.
Great.
He had reached out because Road and Track and Yahoo News picked up this
the fire, yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
And Channel 4 News picked up the fire. And so all of a sudden there's stuff out on the web.
You've got attention.
Well, he contacted those media outlets and said, hey, can you please put his Shopify on there and maybe people can help him out? Well,
excellent.
At first it was a horrendous burden because I'm dealing with insurance companies.
Now you got to order more shirts.
We didn't have enough stuff. Yeah. So I'm getting mail from people, where's my shirt? And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, hey, we're behind. I'm so sorry. We'll get that shirt out to you as soon as we can. I'm sorry for the delay. And so
I would have said the boxes were in the warehouse.
no. Well, I mean,
just kidding.
But the reality was that the boxes were empty. I mean,
I know you needed to buy it. That's what
we
that
have
was.
A few hanging in the lobby, but
post.
I'm not like
shirts.
the merch guy. We don't push that. I've given away thousands of shirts.
Yeah.
Selling shirts was something that only happened in the last few years.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. But I want to get off the path. But we really started moving in a fast way, and a lot of people are blown away by the progress. But my background was as a facilities engineer.
Yeah, I just see logistics. You came in and just started sweeping a broom until the building was gone.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a matter of putting people in different roles and tasks and giving them the tools they need to do it, and just staying on it. Like, for me, there's been no days off really. This is the first. This weekend I'll take some time. I've taken some snippets, and we had a very nice, quaint, tight, beautiful Thanksgiving.
Oh, good.
So
you were able to separate yourself just for a little bit.
Sure.
You're a grateful person anyway. I know you.
I separated my a lot of really good scotch from glass containers too.
Well done. Good separation.
But,
Happy holidays.
Very, very nice. Very nice. But
I'm sure that was well deserved.
So what's been going on is there's been this systematic grid-like approach to everything. And you have to do it in a certain sequence. It's like a Rubik cube.
Yeah.
Of half the cube is destruction, the other half is the colorful
restoration,
bits.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do the Rubik's cube and get rid of the black bits as we do it, to end up with all the colors everywhere.
Good
it's
luck.
kind of a weird deal, but so.
Well, the building's gone.
It's gone as of Sunday.
Yeah, there you go. So you look at the pictures now of, in fact, you posted, I think, maybe today, but the facade that used to be there with all the bays and the Benton Performance thing, and then now there's nothing there but a fence and the buildings that were behind it that are smoke damaged and scarred.
Yeah.
So it's literally not there anymore. Does that help you? feel a little bit better?
Absolutely.
For me, it would too. The body's
Yes.
gone and we can move on.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like a lot of people, God bless them, are like, "Hey, can save all that stuff. We'll make art out of it."
Nope.
Bye-bye.
And I'm like, you know what? Do I want a piece of the Twin Towers on my desk? No. Some people might, but I don't. And this is kind of like that scene.
I
and
understand fully.
there's some stuff I will keep. There's no doubt about it. We found a piece of aluminum, looks like cock and balls. I kept that. 'Cause that's hilarious.
That's what comes out of this nonsense.
Anthony
Your new
came
trailer
walking
hitch.
out of the ashes with this thing, and I see the guys all come together around. I'm like, oh, what is this precious object?
A moment of happiness.
And I
among
walk over and I'm
everybody.
like, oh, fire forged cock and balls. I'll take that.
Bunch of children. That's amazing.
So
Those are the moments, though, right? In that moment, you probably
Absolutely.
needed that community.
absolutely
It's great.
So, so we've started to clean up, and it's progressed every day. I'm not good at doing this kind of stuff slow, so it's.
Yeah, in the same
I've been
way.
driving the insurance company. I'm sure, like, man, this guy. But first thing in the morning, I start email.
You're going to save them money over the long
That's-
term because you're going to get this shit. It's not going to be drawn out like it would have been for 6 months. Like
I'll tell you a
everybody
funny
else.
story. I'm not going to give you the numbers. Okay, the insurance company offered to move me in an effort to streamline
quicker?
and do it quicker,
That's not
which
the
made no
answer.
sense.
It's not the answer.
They don't realize that not only is Benton Performance a repair and restoration facility, but it's also a look, a theme, a brand, right? Which none of those things mattered to me 10 years ago, probably, but now it does. So
It's its own entity now.
yeah, so we're that's the space we're in. So that was a dollar figure, and it wasn't a little bit of money.
Right.
So then there's my business interruption, which is good for up to X amount of months, right? So if you add that up, it's a significant figure. And when they started giving me grief, I just told them, look, with all due respect, I don't need that. I'm not a greedy Gus. I just want to get back in the game.
Right.
And I know the path. And I told them what the path was. And I said, you're looking at about this much. And when I told them that, they're like, oh, well, okay.
Because it's not going to be the full 6 months or whatever, 8 months or
No,
whatever it would have been. Right.
Why slog along for
No, I agree
a
with
year
you.
to have a
That's what they're used to. They're
lackluster
used to people taking
outfit?
advantage and whatever.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it went down without going into detail. And I was on the way here, I didn't know what my December was going to look like. I actually got the phone call I needed to get today on the way here so I could plan what the rest of December going into January is going to look like.
Yeah. Finish out the year.
Well, budgeting is so critical right now, and I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do things and where we put the money because it's just how it is. So, but there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I can't wait to start posting pictures of what a great party we had on the opening.
It's going to be spectacular.
I'm telling you, I'm going to find the most legit mage on the planet, and he's going to have a bucket of sage, and we're going to. That place is going to get it's going to look like a second fire, but it's going to be.
Yeah,
a
I was
good
going to
one.
say, can we make sure it's really, really done carefully?
But I know that Eric and Ian have made a batch of beer that's been kind of cooking while all this rebuild is going on.
Really?
So
Like they're making their own batch for.
we've been making our own beer for some time.
Okay.
We have There's always been a keg of beer somewhere in the shop for the last year or so.
Fair enough.
And before that, Eric is a brewmeister.
Oh, okay.
So we've had the first fun beer we had was Fabuloso, which was named after a cleaning chemical that we use in the shop.
Yeah, I know it.
And
That's
then we had Bahama Mellow, which is a tribute to Bahama Yellow,
Kevin.
which was at our barbecue. 10 gallons of that went away in 3 hours.
Oh, that's what they were drinking at the last barbecue.
That's one of the things they were drinking. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was the keg, though.
That was the keg. Yeah, we killed 2 kegs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Boy, man, I do not miss that at all.
Nope. And that was a blonde ale. And the beer that's coming now is more festive beer, but it's around 9%. So
All right. Well, beer aside, can we talk about
Yeah.
what your plans are for the new Benton Performance, or is that more of a surprise for people?
there might be we'll leave a little bit of surprise in there, but we are going to come back.
Yeah, you are rebuilding, even though it may not be exactly what people are
It's
expecting.
not going to be the same.
Right. But
And
you are going to rebuild something.
I am going to rebuild. We're reconfiguring. Okay, so let's just say that Benton Performance was this.
That's fair. That's close, yeah.
Okay, this is gone. So we took this part of what's left, this corner here, and we reconfigured it, and we've condensed a few things, and we're moving.
So you moved, like, you basically built like a little machine shop in the regular
Yes.
existing shop that was
Yes.
already pretty full to begin with.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, so we had to move, condense, and then since we had time to think about flow, because one of the other things I did in the meeting when I had all the people together, I said, look, every single one of you have sat in my office or stood out in the shop and said, man, I wish we had this, or how come we don't have that, and man, we should have lights over here. And guess what?
Now's the time.
This is it, and we're gonna do it ourselves. There's no contractors allowed in this building.
Yep.
So whatever we need to build, we're gonna build it,
Love it.
and because we can.
You can, absolutely can.
And so electrical, plumbing, painting, we're doing it ourselves. And so it's coming together, and we're thinking as far as streamlining and making things better as far as what we have left.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't be able to store as many cars at the shop, but
That's fine.
it's okay. After this,
It may-
that
may be
sounds
a
really good to
godsend.
me.
Yeah. Works out just fine.
But you alluded to what the future might hold.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious because you've dropped a few breadcrumbs along the way.
Yeah. So
I
the
don't know
area
what you can tell other people.
So the area where the building is going to become, I'm going to build a fence line all the way around, and it's going to be solid steel, no chain link.
Understandable.
And it'll have a iron gate that it's on a slider, and it'll be electrified. Not electrified to kill people, but
Mobile. Yeah,
yes,
motorized.
it'll be motorized, and maybe electrified came out because yeah. So it'll
Jurassic
be motorized.
Park is all I
Yeah, there you
see.
go.
And then I'm going to put some storage back there.
Okay.
And then leave some open room. And I think it will lend itself to continued work at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit better flow in and out of the main building. And, we have regulations we have to live by. They call it Coupa. But basically, we have to store things a certain way. We have waste oil. We have waste fuel.
Sure.
And all that has to be covered. Well, that was out. Actually, that wasn't in that building. That stuff was in a little place between the two buildings. So there was an awning that was there. We had to extend that awning out a little bit and move the waste products away a little bit. And then a lot of the blasting equipment and stuff, we took that out from the main building and put it underneath that awning now. So
Okay.
in a way, we have a pretty cool layout to where we have
Almost a carport kind of a, right?
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of awning?
Not too big because the city will wince if we build anything with a roof.
Oh, I see.
But it has to be safe from the environment so that we don't have like waste oil going down the door. We run a very clean, nice shop.
Yeah, no, I know.
We had just passed our fire inspection.
Ugh.
The morning.
Well, this wasn't
before
you. We need to
Yeah.
let's say that again. This was not anything that even occurred on your property. It was
No.
something not even could not be further.
Yes. So we will be back. I really, I'm not sure how it's going to play out because there's things I have control of and things I don't have control of.
Right.
So I'm pushing very, very hard. I'd love to be back in business in January sometime, like actually really back in business. It might go into February, but beyond
Still, January or February sounds very ambitious to me, and I feel like everyone would be thrilled. Everyone will be thrilled to hear that.
Yeah.
That's a
Everyone's
goal.
thrilled
January,
to hear from
February.
you now. Like there's so much that like everyone wants to love you. No one knows what to do. And our community is so tight and we just all love you so much, but no one knows what to do. Everyone is going to be stoked to have you back in business.
I should touch on that because we've talked about what happened and what's going on and all that. But the outpouring of help has been.
You want to take a moment and go ahead? Don't get too emotional.
It's pretty wild. I never in a million years wanted a GoFundMe account. When I was very close to running out of money, and the insurance was not responding, and I got to make something clear to you guys. I have really good insurance, like I said, but I did not have enough coverage for all my stuff. That stuff that was in there, and it's probably I'm in the middle of tabulating it right now. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of money, and it was my past, present, and future, and in a lot of ways. So that's going to be a second and third chapter to this, and I'll come visit you when we do that.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
But the outpouring of help has been amazing. Kevin Lynch and Andy Hung both came to me because they're smarter than I am. And they, I shared with them where I was at, and they were like, hey, you got to do something. And, and Rob Curry, God, I've been doing this a long time, man, and I didn't see this coming. I mean, I really didn't see this coming, and asking for help is just like something I don't like doing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little man's
Anybody who
complex or
knows you
something.
knows that, by the way.
Yeah, but without becoming a total ninny over it, I'm just completely still absorbing what people have done for me, and whether it's paying forward or saying, John, listen to me. You're not listening to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And they're like, you have to do this. You need to do this. Make sure you ask this question.
Shake some sense into you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, geez Louise, I mean, the legal help I've gotten, just kind of like, here, John, just listen to me and stuff like that. And so, the GoFundMe, I thank every single person. At night before I go to bed, I get on there and I write a message. I'm very thankful. Very, very thankful because, money, I don't know what it is about money. Money is so dirty, nasty, but so necessary. And I've railed against that. I've often told people, man, I wish I could just get a cow or a chicken and you guys send something to the mortgage company and that's all I need and we all get a fun car and everything works. And it's not like that.
No.
That's a fallacy and a crazy dream that's never going to happen. But I try to get close to that. And but in the midst of all this, the wonderful messages, and I gotta, God, it gives you hope. In every this world is really, really fickle right now. And I've lost good friends over this whole Trumposphere and shit. And all this stupid, meaningless political BS. I don't even know where it comes from, but a lot of those people came back. And they put that aside, because we have these philosophical or political discussions, and after a while it's just crickets, And some people they came back into my life and like, John, I'm so sorry. I know how this is part of you. And I'm like, I appreciate it. And then people I don't even know. I got a letter from a mechanic in Louisiana. And, there's a handwritten letter, and it's a piece of paper, and it's dirty, and it's written like I would write a note to one of the guys in the shop. And it's a $100 bill, and he says, hey, go have a nice dinner with your wife. And I'm sorry. Whew.
This is the stuff that brings us all together.
Well,
brother.
it's wild. And in the middle of all that, there's people that took the time to write really horrible things.
Yeah, the haters.
And I'm not going to give them any time.
Good.
But, they got to live in that shell. And I'm just blown away by that. But, it's, like I said, it's involuntary cleansing. And all I can really do is do what people do. Those of us who choose to do it is to make some lemonade out of this turd fest.
Bravo.
I'm really trying. Better than trying. I'm doing. And
You're doing it.
And I'm really thankful. This is the time of year where you say you're thankful. Man, oh man. I'm very, very thankful. And there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, for sure. You're driving the car, brother. There's plenty of light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm trying.
I'm curious, how are you as a person from before this? You've always said you reserve the right to reinvent yourself at all times, at any time. What has this done to you?
Well, it's absolutely somehow water got on my face.
Oh my God, there's a leak up
Say
there. I'm gonna
wh-
get
it's-
that. It's the sprinkler.
yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
But excuse me. No, this is actually a point of reinvention, and I've also gotten calls from people that said, "Hey, this has happened to me. This has happened to me," and there's two ways about this, but you are who you are, and they're very supportive. And like, look, this is going to work out. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. I keep hearing that, so
Yeah.
I'm rolling with that. That's maybe my mantra. It's going to work out.
It is gonna work out.
But absolutely, there's some reinvention going on, and it's happening in very, very fast order, and it's something that's happening with everyone I know and people that are involved. There's an opportunity to share so much of what I know. I'm sharing things with people that they didn't know about me, like that people that work for me. Like they don't even know what we're capable of, and now they're finding out.
Maybe this is kind of what I mean. Have you discovered? I mean, you've always known you were a tough dog. You've been through a hell of a life before this particular incident. Is it making you tougher and softer at the same time?
There's no doubt about it. I just whined like a ninny.
Yeah, but the man who's sitting here is strong as can be. I mean, there's nothing, there's no bit of weakness emanating from you at all. The guy who walked in here, I was waiting to see I told you, the moment I saw you and gave you a big hug, I thought you were going to be a broken man sitting here, and you came in like you fucking owned the place, and you look great.
Well, that's my barber's fault. Okay, I'll give you.
I like Floyd's too.
Okay, so when I moved to Anaheim, I had to find a new barbershop. I never even heard of Floyd 99 before. So I walk into it because it's close to the shop, and I meet this young lady named. This is probably it's 3 or 4 years ago. This Stacy with an F. And there's two Stacys. She's Stacy with an F. So she cuts my hair now, and I hadn't been in there in weeks because I'd kind of put things off already because we were busy, and then this happened.
What's important?
I walked in there yesterday in preparation for this because I looked like, I was living over, I was under the freeway somewhere. But anyways, I was kind of haggard, and when I walked in, the look on her face was like, "Oh, John," and we had like a teary little moment, and she gave me a hug. She said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna take care of you."
She had known your situation too, right?
She did.
Okay.
She did, and she asked me how I was doing. I'm like, "Doing all right." So she says, "You sit in this chair. We're gonna take care of you." I'm like, "Where?" She goes, "Well, this is Justina,
Oh my goodness.
and we're gonna take care of you." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm in a chair, and they're cutting and chopping and brushing chemicals on my face, and then there's this reveal. I sit up in the chair. I'm like, "Oh no!" And I felt almost kind of like, "Oh no, you shouldn't have done that." Kind of a weird feeling inside, like, "Oh my God," because I knew what I looked like this morning versus now. So,
did they keep it from you in the whole thing and then like show you the mirror reveal at the end? Just like I love it.
It's kind of fun.
I love it.
And then they
It's a proper makeover. It really is.
And they refused to charge me.
Good
so
crew. Good crew.
I tipped them accordingly.
Sure.
And bought a few things that were laying around there and got in my truck and went back to work. But
Good man, John Benton.
something like that, right?
That's what I see.
All right. Well, that's the story. The fire. Take us through it. That was it. The GoFundMe. You covered that. Can we talk about? I know a lot of stuff was lost. Are we allowed to talk about the stuff, or is that like ongoing? And
I
shouldn't
don't
be?
mind talking about it. It's very fresh in my mind because I have.
I think a lot of people want to. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Well, okay. So first of all, and foremost, there were 3 cars in there that do not belong to me. I had maybe some interest in one of them with Kevin because we're actually very good friends, but that's his race car, and so.
I love that guy.
He's
I
a-
just want to say
he's a great
thanks
guy.
Kevin Lynch.
for both of us. Yeah.
Huge.
We've been an anchor for each other these past few weeks. It's been a crazy month or two.
I never said it, but obviously the shirt conversation, that's what we were talking about. I mean, Patrick for him, and then it's like a week or so later was the shop for you.
Yeah. Patrick was a sweet, sweet soul. He knew something we don't,
Yeah.
and he's very brave.
Good for you.
Very brave. I'll leave it at that.
I agree with you. We both do.
So-
but separately, sorry that I didn't mean to bring it down
No,
there.
it's good.
The cars that were in there. So Kevin Lynch was the
So
one.
Kevin Lynch.
So was that the green, the Irish?
No. Thank God. Okay, so some of these cars people have never seen.
Okay.
So
but that's maybe why we need to talk about it, because I think there's a lot of assumptions that, like, oh, this car's gone. Oh, this car's gone.
the one car everybody has seen with relatively few circumstances. If you look at the first Luft book, hey Patrick, if you look at the first Luft book, there's a little snippet of a car, and it's a Porsche emblem on a very well-worn red hood with Bondo cracks.
Oh,
And it's a total patina car, probably one of the best patina cars on the planet.
hang on. But I think I might know this. I think it was a Malibu Cars and Coffee all the time, too, as well, right?
It
Black
may-
interior, 912?
It was a red 912.
Yeah.
Belonged to Bill.
But the interior was all done.
Oh, the
It was
whole car was
absolutely
done.
perfect, but only the patina on the outside.
Yes. So that's one of the fastest 912s I've ever built. Because I kind of built it for me at the old La Habra shop.
Before I ever knew you, I took a picture of that car up at Malibu Cars and Coffee, of the front, of the dings and everything we were talking about, and I posted it. Looks can be deceiving,
Yeah.
because that car really spoke to me. Is that gone?
Yes. That was one of the most lethal sleeper cars for the
Interesting.
Canyon I ever
Without
built.
a doubt, we saw it running, and absolutely same thing.
That's the weapon if I went back in time, that's the weapon I would have brought to Mulholland.
No kidding.
It's dead. And it's
Oh,
so
that's a
sad.
shame. That's a shame. I love that car.
Because it was just there to be refreshed a little bit.
Oh,
And-
really?
Yeah, because we're going to do a few things. Like, we never did the chrome on it, right? So we're going to do the chrome and fix some of the rubber and replace the front bumper because it was so patinaed it was ready to fall off.
Yeah,
so
there was a dent in it.
Yeah, so it was time to do a few things, and it's just unfortunate.
Oh, well.
So that car's gone, and that's
Okay.
the one the community may know of. The other car was like a museum quality 912E. Now, I know some people are detractors, and I may be one of them on
The
occasion.
E is
but
the 76 one, right?
it's 1 year only, very small production rate, and it's become collectible.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very, very nice car, and it's from back east. It's got California plates, but it's from back east. And that car was a super nice car, and we were going to put a fun motor in it
Right.
and do a few little touch-ups and,
Make it a driver.
and preserve it because it was very much a driver, but he wanted to really drive it and without restoring it, fix a few things. And we're kind of good at that, you know.
The car was great already, but it always needed a motor. Always, in my opinion. So, like,
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
if-
So
you
we-
know what
so
I mean? So if
we
you
were
did,
gonna wake
if
the
we did
motor
a
up.
Benton motor on that
Yeah.
thing, it's a great car.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to wake it up. And then there was a 67 911 race car in there that belonged to Kevin. So that's
That is what
gone.
it is. That could. Thank God it was you guys. Thank
Yeah.
God it was Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
You know,
a really good point.
well, okay, because that building had a 4-post lift in it, and a lot of cars, to get them out of the mix when they were done,
Oh, you double up.
I would double stack
Stack
in
it,
that
yeah.
space, and they'd be covered and out of the way. They're out of harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
That's why those cars were kind of in there. The race car was in there because it was blown apart. It had all been refinished, and the roll cage was all redone, but all the parts for it were like in that little area on the far side. Anyways, long story short, we used that 4-post area to put like significant, like that's usually where I put my car at night. Like we'll put it in the bottom there or whatever. There's been some really expensive iron in that spot. It could have been on a
Oh,
mine-
at another time. Should this have happened at another time, it could have been
yeah,
worse. Yeah.
yeah. As far as the dollars of it, but
Right.
so
So those are the 3 full cars.
yes, so that building isn't normally like open. Like when people come visit the shop, even when we have parties, people might wander in and around there, but they really don't know what's behind the doors, you know.
Yeah.
So
Only if we've been in with you would
Yeah.
we know.
So in the past, and even even the other day, I'll tell you some more stories about what some of the people have done. It's very, very nice. You know, this journey that's taken me all these decades, these 3 decades plus, going to Pomona swap meet when Pomona was really the Volkswagen Porsche section outside the regular meet, and going to the TRW swap meet in Torrance, and going to the Long Beach swap meet and digging through Chevy parts to find Porsche stuff, and going to other swap meets that have nothing to do with cars, and going to the Big 3 in San Diego, and going to Tucson, and going to
Years
to
and years
Seattle,
and years.
and doing crazy stuff like flying to states, renting a truck, filling it, and driving it back with the springs bent backwards.
For years and years and years.
That's what was in there.
It's unquantifiable. You can't even. I mean, you're going to be thinking of stuff that you didn't write on that piece of paper for the next 10 years.
That's a possibility, but I hope to grow beyond that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I meant you could. You could do that. You'll never think of it all.
I regularly get phone calls from local shops.
Oh gosh.
Wanting things.
From the fire, or just in general, historically,
Before-
everyone
well
knows that
before
you
the fire.
have everything.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we need one of these.
Because
Do you
I
happen to have
had
it?
I had enough stuff to build
Don't
many
say
engines.
it. Don't say it. Too many.
And we're talking not just like you have to remember I'm not a modern era shop. This is an old school shop. This old school stuff, and I probably the oldest motor I could build out of what I had was probably like a 1951 Pre-A motor, complete and completely accurate with every part right, inside and out.
Best not to think about it, probably.
Yeah, just the bearings alone.
Don't you think that you do have to kind of transcend that stuff, though? Once you, I mean, I know you have to make the list for insurance and everything else, but like you said, I hope I don't do that. It seems like you've already sort of transcended and you're out of that part.
Yeah, so
like I'm bringing you into it to talk about it for the purposes of this and everything, but it seems like you might have already.
Well, okay, so one of our greatest weaknesses is the things we don't know about, right? That we don't know about.
Right.
Okay, so in my head, I'm like, how am I going to get all this stuff again? How in the hell, and I'm starting to think about it. And then...
But do you want that?
I'm never going to amass that amount of parts again.
It's not possible anymore.
It is and it isn't. But the reason I don't want to do it again is because I don't want to have it like a hook in my side again, ever. I'm going to be smarter about it. I'm going to let the hoarders hoard. They're still out there.
Yep.
And I've been contacted by 3 people. I don't even know who they are. And, they're like, hey, I have all this, blah, and I have their number now.
Oh, they're offering, I see.
And they're like,
so you might be able to get a batch.
Come look. And now they're not saying I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, I'm sure that's
Okay.
the case, yeah.
But it's out there still. Some of the stuff is out there. And guys like Rod Emery and John Wilhoit, we've had conversations. I just talked to Rod yesterday because I have this huge list. One of the things you guys have to realize is that I had an idea of what was in there, but I didn't have a physical inventory per se. So I spent 7 or so days on my knees on a foam pad. We had a system because the insurance company sent an adjuster out to record what was removed from the building.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so it was designated between personal property and then like shop equipment. Okay, so and then the stuff that belonged to other people. So there's just 3 things kind of going on.
It's basically inventory, right? You're inventorying as you remove.
Yes. So we did this dig, and we started on one side of the shop and just started pulling stuff out. And as soon as it was identified and recorded, it went in scrap bin. We had this huge semi-container size, 40-yard roll-offs, one for trash, one for steel and metal. Recycle. And I know there's people. I mean, people contacted me. They said this makes you cry. And when you're taking a 1951, short block, it was totally viable, and it's just melted, and the rod's sticking out of this glob. It's like, oh my God, for a greaser that does this, it's like, oh man. So after I became numb, like by day 3,
Oh God,
it was just a task. Let's get this over with. By the end, I was so emotionally drained, really emotionally drained, and everybody there was. I mean, everybody was just like kind of gray, and we had the black lung.
We saw some of these pictures where you had everything then laid out in the sun, out on the concrete for
that changed
catalog purposes.
That changed from hour to hour.
I'm sure, yeah.
Those are just snapshots of what was there before it went in a
for
bin.
Right, for the insurance.
There were 3 roll-offs. We filled 3 40-yard containers. You couldn't put it in this.
Oh no.
So
The building was huge. The building was not small.
Well,
the stuff that was in it,
it was medium sized, but it was so tall. We had really super tall shelves, and
it was full of stuff.
It was full of stuff. When you think of like quarter windows and window frames and door latches and stuff. But the beauty of it is that people have reached out and they're like, whatever you need, John. And people like Jack from Scientific.
Yes. We love Jack.
In the middle of all this, his pickup pulls up, one of his guys jumps out, and I see Ian and Anthony, like, what are they doing? And I was busy, and I'm like, take care of that. And I don't know what's going on. Like, I didn't even want to be bothered
Right.
at this moment.
You're looking
I'm doing
loose.
my
Get
thing.
those guys out of here.
Well, I called Jack last night, and God bless you, Jack. I know your mom passed away.
What? Oh, no.
Yeah.
God.
The
Shit's
best
going
to
on
you.
everywhere.
It is what it is. It's life. But
Yeah, I know.
I want to
Sorry,
thank
Jim,
Jack.
we didn't know that.
I want to thank Jack. I want to thank Jack because I had no idea what he did really.
Okay.
And he didn't call me to like, hey, did you get my stuff? Eric and I were going through because we're reorganizing, and he said, hey, John, you got to look at all this stuff. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, where'd all this come from? Where was this? He's like, no, the other day when that truck pulled up, Jack's guy dropped off all this stuff.
So equipment?
No, it's parts, and it's not junk. It's a seed. Like it's
To replenish.
it is a seed. It's like a
incredible.
nourishing, valuable
That's amazing.
seed that will help our company grow and help. It'll help the community and everybody all at once. It's a very, very, very nice gesture.
You can see and hear the gratitude in your voice.
It's incredible. So, I'm in a much better place than I was like week 2.5.
Yeah.
Much better than week 1.
How long is it? It's been over a month now, right? Just over a month?
We're in week 5.
Week
right now.
5, okay.
So it seems like a year ago. I don't explain it. It seems like short and long all at the same time. Because it's just a constant grind. I start early in the morning, and then I have my emails I have to write.
This is the first thing you've done to not be at the shop. I mean, with the exception of your haircut last night. That's amazing to me.
This is very cathartic in so many ways.
We should think about wrapping it up, but I don't want to take anything. If there's anything you haven't said yet, I want to make sure we go down the list. What's new? The fire, GoFundMe, lost vehicles. We talked about insurance, talked about your plans for the new building. And is there anything else we should hit?
Nobody can see this.
Okay,
I'm
we
just
should turn it
messing with
off. All right, forget it. Hang on.
No, I mean,
I feel that you've expressed a lot of gratitude to the community
Sure.
and the people who've helped. You said fuck you to the haters. Good for you. We've talked about your plans and how this affected you. I mean, this is an ongoing thing. I hope that you're going to keep coming back and tell us, oh, we got this and this is new and blah, blah,
Sure.
blah, like you said before.
Sure.
I mean, we love you anyway, but
Yeah,
this
mutual.
feels like something like you're going through, and if you can go through it publicly, sometimes that helps.
Oh yeah, I mean we're in an era where you can actually do that,
Yeah.
And look, if you own a business or even if you don't, look at your insurance policy,
Declaration page.
declaration page. Look at that thing. That's the gist of it. Personal property.
Protect
look at
yourself.
that. Protect yourself. Make your agent come to where you live or work, and
Here's an interesting question that just popped into my head. Well, I don't know if it's interesting or not. Sorry for that declaration. How about if this fire happened, say, only 10 years ago? What do you think the financial differences are because of how Porsche went up like this over the last X amount of years? I mean, probably over the 20 is probably more accurate, but I mean, even 10.
well, 10 years ago, I was really honoring my hillbilly roots. So the bulk of this stuff was at my house. I mean, still to this day, there's stuff at my house.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't even factor that in. I meant more on the lines of like the way Porsche has.
Okay, so there's that, and there is the value of this stuff. So yes, the era that we're in made everything expenentially more valuable.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it,
That's crazy. I mean, that's life, but that's
and
something
more
to think
rare, because it is this thing where if you do have a new old stock fog light switch for a 1967 911,
You're the guy who has it.
and maybe I bought it at the lit meet 20 years ago for $100, but now I would charge $500 for that same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I had boxes and boxes of that stuff. I mean, it was. I remember there was stuff, because what's funny is I'll tell you what was kind of cool about this is that we're digging through this stuff, and I've got some new guys in the shop, and they're just full of life, and they're full of curiosity, and they really want to be there, and they really want to learn.
Yeah.
So they're really watching this go down. So I reach in, and there's like ashes, and there's like part of a box, and you open the box, and there's door handles with Porsche keys, new old stock.
No way.
with the cylinders and the keys
Everything.
right in there.
They're,
Oh my
and it's
God.
like, and they're stacked together, they're all melted together. Like, how many of those did you have? I said, I don't know. Like, there were like 5 pairs in there. And so, it's at first, and I got to thank Kevin. I have to thank Kevin for this because he made it clear to me that Benton Performance is not that stuff. Yes, it made it easier for you to do neat things. Yes, it made you unique maybe in the community in some ways to have that available to you, but that's not Benton Performance.
Bravo. There's
And
a guy who gets it.
He does. He does
Yeah.
very much. Smart man.
Yeah.
That's Benton Performance. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's all around us, but it starts right here.
Well, there you go.
We love you, mister. We
Yeah.
absolutely love you. I mean, you know that already before all
Yeah.
of this, but we absolutely love you and Brenda and your whole team.
Oh, she says hi, by the way.
I hope so.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi to her.
She's recently,
We're overdue for our
Yes.
special breakfast.
yes, there's no doubt about that.
I know that you're pretty pretty locked up these days, but
No, we're at a place now where I think
well,
Saturday.
maybe like in the next week or so.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Great.
She has a lot of time on her hands.
Does she?
These
No.
days she does.
Oh, okay. I can't tell if that's sarcastic or not. She's working on the East Coast time still, isn't she?
Not anymore.
Oh, really?
That changed as of.
Is this what you're telling us? She's not. She's
She's
available.
She's a freelancer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go, Brenda.
All right. Sounds good. What do we have? Let's see. Social media. Let's see. Social media. How do people find you? Of course, it's the Benton Performance, right?
Yeah.
That's the usual thing.
BentonPerformance.com.
I'm going to take this for here. And then what about the GoFundMe is on most things. We're highly encouraging people to
Yeah,
do
the
that. I know
GoFundMe
you're
thing-
not, but we are. We all are.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let that thing do its thing. It's been amazing.
Well, it's what gets you through, and it's a way for other people to help. I mean, we did one once when things were first starting with her medical stuff,
Sure.
and we did not want to at all. She didn't want to at all, and it was one of those things that actually helped us learn how to ask for help, which we neither one of us ever knew how to do before. This is 5 years ago or so.
That one thing, putting pride aside and letting that become part of the deal,
That's hardest.
but that thing gave us wings. I don't have go fuck you money, but that GoFundMe is listen to me money, where I can actually fight the good fight. It kept me in the fight in a place where I could like.
I know absolutely what you mean. It's ammunition in your holster. I know exactly what
Yeah.
you mean. Good for you.
And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to throw a party to thank the community, the likes of which has never been seen.
I think that's awesome and everything, but I hope you know that how this cycle works is that currently the community is thanking you for all of
I get it.
your
I get it.
efforts.
I get
so
it.
of course keep that going, but
I just want to,
everybody loves you, and that's why they're okay.
and that is so mutual.
Mrs. Ryan, what do we have? What do we have
Tomorrow's
tomorrow?
Breakfast Club.
Oh my
I
God,
think.
that's it. It's the end of the week. You're here, which means we're done. That's incredible.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Ended on a high note.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so then stuff's happening next week. I don't care what it is. I love you so very, very
love
much,
you
Mrs.
too.
Ryan. What do we have this weekend? We've got Breakfast Club tomorrow. There's PEC morning shift on Saturday that we highly recommend people going to if they're not anything else, and then we'll figure out the rest.
It's cloudy with a chance of alcohol, as far as I know.
Over at your place, probably.
Probably.
Here, a little less so. John Benton and Benton Performance, we love you
Love
and
you.
your entire team. God bless you. God bless you, and get through this whole
Appreciate it.
thing.
Thanks for being here.
thanks for
Like
being so
whatever we
strong.
can do. Like you're part. You're a leader in my life at least. So
Yeah.
whatever we can do.
I don't know what that means. We're not religious people, but like whatever the God is, God bless you. We
That
love
bucket
you,
of
buddy.
energy we share, I don't mind
There
being in
you
the
go.
bucket with you.
Love it.
It's all good.
But
Love everybody at home. Please love one another. And gosh, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Ta-da! I told myself I would not. That was overwhelming. I can't explain that to you how that felt. That was like, that came from the back of my head through my chest and out my nose. That was crazy.